నమస్తే కాయ్ భక్తి టీవీకి స్వాగతం సుస్వాగతం.
Pranam.
Namaste.
I heard a lot of your talks, Swamiji, and also I read your books. I mean, I never thought that I will get an opportunity to be with you for some time and clarify some of the questions which I always had.
Well, Lakshminarayana, I feel you are being very humble because in this part of the country, people take your name with a lot of respect. That's what I've seen.
That's your blessings, Swamiji. And also what I see, because I keep traveling as you travel, I think I heard that you almost are outside 7 days a week.
Yes.
You are busy with your these things and all. So I also keep traveling. I keep interacting with so many youth. The basic issue what I find is lack of focus. And also there is a lot of information that is available. I mean, during when I was an youngster, I mean, the information used to be in the libraries and we used to get it from the gurus, the teachers.
Yes.
But now with the internet and the technology explosion,
Yes.
if you want to search for a thing, you get lack of things available. So which to believe, which not to believe, how to sort out.
Yes.
This is what I see in the youngsters.
Right.
So how to go about it? That is one this thing. How to make them focus?
In the 12th century, there was a person in England called Francis Bacon, and he was considered to be the most knowledgeable and supposed to know everything that was to be known. Since then, the world has progressed so much. The amount of information that somebody in the 17th century was exposed to all their life, it was available in one Sunday edition of the newspaper. And through the internet, we have access to the information of 500,000 libraries right on our fingertips. So like you said, the problem is that all this information is leading to lack of focus. What is important to make us effective is the ability to focus. Whether it comes to studies, or it comes to sports, or it comes to just managing our own emotions. The focus means requires control of the mind. You see, the mind wants immediate gratification. I am working on this project, let me take a little break by checking my WhatsApp messages, or going on to the email, or surfing on the internet. So the basis of developing focus is self-control, self-discipline. Interestingly, this is a muscle that can be developed with exercise. The lack of self-control becomes almost like a mental disease. And if somebody is affected by it, then they are always running from one gratification to the next to the next. So every 5 minutes, the brain wants something enjoyable. Now what, now what? And the consequence is that the deep work that is required to succeed in today's world is not able to happen. So first of all, students or anybody needs to understand the importance of focus. The second richest man in the world, Warren Buffett, he was asked, what is the secret of your success? He said, I have to protect my every yes with 1,000 no's. People are always demanding my time. And if I want to make this succeed, I have to say no, 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 no. So that is so relevant to all of us, that we decide what is the priority. And subsequently, we build this muscle of self-control by exercising it again and again. So each time we make a resolve, I must do this. And when we don't stick to it, we weaken our self-control. And each time we make a resolve, and even though it was difficult, we stick to it, we build on our self-control. I would strongly urge people to understand the importance of this and to develop it they will then find their whole life falls into place and becomes so much easier.
Very nicely told, Swami. I mean, then you are talking about success. I mean, how do you define success? And I also want to know what is your interpretation of the difference between success and excellence. One should strive for excellence, then success will be a byproduct, or one should concentrate on success. That clarity I saw.
That's right. So actually my book is on success.
Yes.
So the immediate question arises that what is success? So everybody is making their own definitions.
Right.
And based on their concept, they are running towards it. But then somewhere in middle life, they are discovering that what we thought as success, we have now achieved it. We've got money, we've got position, we've got a car, we've got a house, but inwardly we are still bankrupt. So that success turned empty. And the problem was that their concept of success was wrong. So it's important to define it properly from youth itself. There was one Western philosopher called Joshua Liebman. He writes in his book that when I was a youngster, I made a list of all the things I should have which will determine my success. And then just to check it out, I went to a wise man in my neighborhood. And I said, this is my planning for succeeding in life. What do you think about it? And the wise man said that, look, this list is great, but there's one item missing without which all of this is useless. So he said, what is that? The man said, peace of mind. If you have it all and you don't have peace of mind, there is no use. Well, that set him thinking. So actually, to write this book, I contemplated over this idea a lot. How can we define success? And finally came up with these three aspects to it. Firstly, we all want to feel happy. Ultimately, in anything and everything, you have given up your profession, you've taken voluntarily retirement, and giving up your government position, you are now working in the villages with the youngsters. Why? It's giving you satisfaction. So we all want to feel good. But this feel good cannot be imitated. It can only be built by becoming good. In other words, we cannot fake it. We have to actually make it. So that is why the second aspect of success is to try and become good from inside. And then it is our nature to work 12 hours a day. We are working in our profession or whatever. So we want to do good. This is how I define success. To be the best person that you can be in life. To do the best that you can do in life. And consequently, you try and feel the best that you can feel. So let me ask you that having retired early from such a senior position, you have taken up service to society. So what is the satisfaction that you feel and what is your inspiration in the work that you are doing?
Yeah, as you said, Swami, it's ultimately the satisfaction what drives a person. So I was satisfied in the service also, but I always I have to do more. There is something more I need to do for the society. I was doing there, but I said when there is a demand and when I need to enter the villages and do something for the youth, because I worked with Dr. Kalam. He said whenever there is a requirement, when the society needs your services, you quit that and come here. So I said it's the time that has come, because the next 7 years are very crucial for the country, India, wherein there is going to be 75% youth in the country. So everybody talks about it as a demographic dividend. Suppose if you don't guide them properly, if you don't channelize their energies properly, I always afraid it should not become a demographic disaster. So we need to do something. I mean, India lives in villages. I said let us start from the villages. So started going there. And also this migration of youngsters from the villages to the urban cities is also creating huge problem. Like what you see in bigger cities. So his concept of Pura, that is providing urban amenities in rural areas, he says migration to be stopped. Let the youngsters come to the agriculture, because India basically is an agriculture. So all these things have driven me. And as you said, what I wanted to do, I am doing, and my satisfaction levels have gone. Yeah, I am happy.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, if you see, everybody wants to be happy.
Yes.
There is no doubt about it. But unfortunately, the happiness index as a society is going down. That's what is generally seen. I mean, I look into some situations and all, where people are in tension. People are always afraid. I mean, what is the secret of happiness? That's what I thought I would ask you.
The secret of happiness. It's nice that you ask. I was just reminded of a story.
Okay.
A crow was always miserable, looking at its black color. So the crow said, the swan has made milk white. It must be truly happy. So it went to the swan and said, Mr. Swan, look at me. I'm born black and you are born white. God's blessings. You must be happy. The swan said, I thought I should be happy, but then I saw the parrot. And I've got one color and the parrot has got two, green and red. So the parrot must be happy. Now the crow said, well, he's got a point, he cannot be happy. So he went to the parrot and said, look, I've got a single color and you are double colored. You must be really joyous. The parrot said, I thought I should be joyous. And then I saw the peacock, which is multicolored with indigo and crimson and violet. So that must be happy. The crow said, all right, then let's go and inquire from the peacock. So he searched around, round and round Hyderabad until finally he found a peacock. And he said, Mr. Peacock, I'm trying to find a happy bird. You have got so many colors, that's why you're happy. The peacock said, because of all these colors, I'm in the zoo. If I did not, I'd be outside. Now the crow wondered that who is happy. Everybody is chasing happiness. The mistake they are making is, they are tying up their happiness to external things. And that is why it's an acquisition of external things. And internally they are still feeling empty. So happiness does not depend on what we possess. Happiness depends on the way we think. Somebody had a car accident. It got smashed badly. And he says, I'm so happy, thank God. Right? You are thanking God you had an accident? My body is intact. If even little thumb had got injured, it wouldn't, what's so important about the car? So in the same situation, by thinking properly, he is experiencing happiness. Our scriptures tell us, the happiness you are searching is inside you. It's like that kasturi deer with the kasturi inside, and the forest has got the aroma, so he's running here and there. So to go into this inner happiness, what we really need to do is to improve ourselves. The more we can purify our mind, the more we can uplift our thoughts, we come in touch with the fountain source of happiness that is inside. And that is why the saints say, stay high forever. Now you take a drink and in the morning there's a splitting headache. And if you take the bliss of the name of God, that will remain morning and evening. So Guru Nanak went to the court of Badshah Babur, and Babur offered him a cup of bhang, opium. and said, take this. So Guru Nanak was intoxicated on the name of God. So he said, Bhang tambaku chotara utar jaye parbhat. This intoxication will not remain in the morning. And Naam Kumari Nanaka chadhi rahe din raat. The bliss that I am experiencing will always remain. So finally, Lakshminarayan ji, this is how we would explain bliss. It would be Sat, Chit and Anand. In other words, true happiness would be that which would always remain. Not that it came and then went off. Number two, it would be ever fresh. Not like the Bollywood movie you get bored of. And number three, it would be infinite in extent. That is the bliss of God. Let me ask you, you feel very strongly about this vice of drinking and you wish to do your bit in moving people away from this very dangerous activity. So can you tell me about the work that you're doing in this field?
Because when I toured the villages, Swamiji, I started interacting with the people, especially the women and the children. I mean, they are not happy, again coming to happiness. I mean, they want happiness to pervade in their houses. But when they see the husband and when the children see their father coming in a drunken state, they are afraid, the affections, all these things are missing. So then I asked them, I mean, what can we do? They said, suppose if he doesn't drink, then I think we all will be happy, and in the process he will be saving his health and also saving the money whatever he is earning. Then I told the villagers, if you give up drinking, I can adopt your village. So they came forward and we could do 3 villages, they have shown voluntarily they came, and all these 3 villages we adopted. Now the total scenario of the village has changed.
Amazing. So you have actually gone ahead and adopted 3 villages and
Yes.
making them commit that they are not going to drink.
And also they are realizing the benefit. I mean, now there is happiness in the home, and also his health has improved, and whatever he is earning, he is able to spend for himself and the family, and also for the general well-being of the society also. So the societal happiness has gone up. That's what I always say, the happiness index has to go up in the country.
Right,
So it's individual happiness and the societal happiness, and as a country, if you can increase the happiness or improve it,
right.
then that will be a better place to live.
So you may be aware that in the Bhagavatam there is the episode where Parikshit Maharaj encountered Kali Yuga, and he said, don't you live in my kingdom. And Kali Yuga said, it is the will of God, I have now come and I need a place. So Parikshit said, okay, in that case you can stay in 4 places. You can stay in the gambling dens, in the liquor bars, in the slaughterhouses, and in the places of the prostitute dens. So Kali Yuga started residing in these 4 places, and the vices that develop or the adharma that happens, it is by drinking that the quality of austerity is destroyed. It is by gambling that the second leg of dharma, which is truthfulness, is destroyed. It is through the prostitute houses that cleanliness is destroyed. And it is through the slaughterhouses that the quality of kindness and compassion is destroyed. So the places of drinking have been marked out as places of vice in the Bhagavatam 5,000 years ago.
Yeah, Swamiji.
Yes.
I mean, a lot of students of late, I'm seeing the stress levels in them are going so much, and some of them have taken a recourse to suicides also. I mean, they could not control the stress. I mean, I have seen you delivering talks on stress management and this thing. So many of the parents also have the same issue. They always feel tense, especially the stress that is being generated in the students.
Yes.
And in the present education system or the examination system what we have. So I'd like to ask you, especially students, how they can reduce their stress.
Yes. Stress has become such a common problem, and people are experiencing it because the competition is increasing, the expectations of society are increasing, and people have more expectations from themselves, and parents have expectations from them. So this whole thing becomes difficult to handle. For an engineer, stress is the force in a machine part, in a beam, in a structure that tends to shear it, twist it, break it. But we human beings, when we encounter the external world and we perceive that the situation requires more resources to handle than I have, that is when we start experiencing stress. And the stress is the cause of so many medical ailments as well. Nowadays, 33% of medical ailments are correlated to stress. So, interestingly, the science of work was given 5,000 years ago in the Bhagavad Gita, when Lord Krishna gave the means for controlling stress. He said, Karmanye vadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. He says, Arjun, do your duty to the best of your ability, but don't be attached to the results. So this karma phala asakti is what is causing the stress. So we are thinking that this is for me, this is for myself. Now if we decide that the results are not in my hands in any case, what is in my hands is the effort. All I can do is to put in the best effort. And then whatever the results come, I will accept it. The willingness to accept the good or the bad when it comes frees us from all kinds of fear. Right? So when we develop this attitude, we become solution oriented. So a problem-oriented person is always thinking, why did this happen? Why did this happen? And the solution-oriented person is thinking, how can I solve it? Let me try my best. If I can solve it, well and good. And if it doesn't solve, I will bear with the consequences. So that would be the way to reduce stress, but also the students who consider the option of suicide. I would like to say that this kind of dejection comes when we do not realize the importance of what we have. We do the another of God's blessings. So just because somebody is not getting a first division is no reason to become depressed. There are so many who would feel elated to get that second division. So if we can count our blessings, then we will realize that there is so much of positivity and so much of reason to be happy and joyous. Also, one should develop the inner strength. This is a very important ingredient in life, and you being a police officer are endowed with it in great quantities. But that inner strength is so important, because life will so many times crack us and smash us and break us. If we have that quality of inner tolerance, forbearance, we will go on. Every time we fall, we will rise again. No matter what the difficulty. Maharishi Arvind used to say, you have to be stronger than the difficulty. There is no other way. Life is a blessing, life is an opportunity, and nobody has the right to finish their life. In fact, our scriptures say that somebody who commits suicide is voluntarily rejecting the gross body, but the soul lives on. So that soul now becomes a ghost for some time. Because they have rejected the gross body, God says, now you stay without a gross body for some time. That's why under no means should anybody consider or contemplate that step.
Swamiji, all this is happening because I feel we are moving away from spirituality. Because when I was reading some books, they said each country has a USP, the unique selling proposition, what we all talk about. When it comes to India, they say spirituality is the USP of India. As you move away from the USP, whatever we are seeing in the society, the way women are being treated, the incidents that are happening in this country, and also of course the stress management and also the suicides and all, they are all happening because of, as we are drifting away from the spirituality.
Yes.
So how to get back this spirituality, or how to bring people closer to the spirituality?
That's right. The focus of education is on materialistic development. In other words, people's perspective is, let me get good education so I get a good job and get good money. But nowhere is this thing emphasized that let me try and become a good person. So what we are having is engineer making education, doctor making education, advocating making education. We are not having human making education. So this whole process is just to go and earn money. What is missing there is the spiritual inculcation or the spiritual growth of the people, the students within. Swami Vivekananda had put it so well when he said that education is the art of man-making. So spirituality is what helps, gives us the strength to control anger, greed, desire. That ability does not come from material science. That comes from spiritual science. So the greatest scientist of the last century, Albert Einstein, he said that science has succeeded in denaturing the plutonium atom, but science cannot denature the evil in man's hearts. So that technology is what spirituality is about. Now, our Indian culture was so blessed that we respected science and we also respected spirituality. In the West, they say, okay, do you believe in science or do you believe in God? But out here we say we believe in science and we also believe in God. The Vedas say, Dve vidye veditavye parachaiva paracha. Look, there are two vidyas. There is aparavidya, material science. There is paravidya, spiritual science. This is the treasure of our Indian culture, and this is the gift which India was meant to give to the world. Instead of realizing our own treasures, when we just try and copy the other cultures and other civilizations, that is the reason why these problems arise. And that is why we need to go deeper into our roots, and we will find the solutions to our problems there.
Do you feel the home is the unit to start this? Then the educational institutions and the society? I mean, I always feel that it is the home which the man-making exercise, what you have just talked about. It should start from the home and it should continue. I mean, what's your take?
Absolutely. Children learn values from their parents. So that building of character is happening in the home. If the parents consider this to be a priority and they take out some time every day in this direction, it will make a whole difference to the child. Now when the child becomes a teenager, he's 18 years old, the parents come running to me. Swamiji, our beta is an atheist, our beta doesn't really go to temples, what to do? I say, it's too late. Now he's 18, he's of his own mind. When he was little, all you needed to do was every day, and just take out half an hour, let the whole family sit together and read the Ramayana and then discuss. So the message that would have gone to the children is, this is the center value of our family. and they would have carried that in their personality. So you are very right that the home is extremely important, and parents need to understand this as their responsibility. And when they start discharging the responsibility to the children, that I have to raise this child to have a blossoming personality, so I need to give spiritual values, then they will say, oh, I need to develop them for myself as well. So it will help them, and it will help the children, and help society.
So many people tell me, suppose if we listen to a discourse,
Yes.
or see something good in the society, they get motivated. But this motivation, sustaining this motivation is a big problem for them. So my question is, how to stay inspired and motivated all three?
Yes. This is a question that students ask me very often, because studying is so difficult. So they motivate themselves, then they study, and then the motivation wears off. So they realize they are not able to give their best to it. So actually in this book, I've got a whole chapter on motivation. And the science of motivation I learned from my Gurudev, Kripaluji Maharaj. When he called me to his ashram, so he said, I want you to study all the Vedic scriptures. And he said, from morning till night, 12 hours, you'll do nothing but study. So I said, all right. Under his lotus feet, I was studying these scriptures. And then he said, I want you to distribute this knowledge. So I decided I need to learn some public speaking as well, because I had no past experience. The problem was there was no public in the ashram. So I would practice speaking to the wall. And that is most demotivating, because the wall will not smile, will not frown, will not say you are boring. I used to speak for 5 minutes and stop. But then I have picked up courage and went to my Gurudev. And I said, Maharajji, can you please designate one ashram resident who can sit in front of me for 1 hour? Then I'll give him a lecture. So nobody had the time. But he taught me a lesson. He said, look, you are thinking, I cannot speak to the wall because I get demotivated. Factually, this carelessness doesn't come from the outside. It always comes from inside. And you can always motivate yourself from inside. So there's an external motivation. Your salary will get increased, get motivated. Somebody praises you, get motivated. But then the same can also demotivate you if it goes in the reverse direction. And the inner motivation, if we can tap into, it's always available. So this is the formula he taught. There's a Vedic mantra. Sa yat kamo bhavati, tat kratur bhavati. Yat kratur bhavati, tat karma kurate. Yat karma kurate, tadabhi nishpadyate. If you develop a sincere yearning that this is important, this is very necessary, I need to master this skill, then you will make a firm resolve. And when you have a firm resolve, you will put in tremendous effort, and that is how you will become. And if your aspiration is mild, then your resolve will be weak, and the effort will also be weak, and that's how you will become. So I said, my God, Gurudev has told me, I thought the situation is making me careless, but I am making myself careless. So next day then I made a firm resolve, and without batting an eyelid, I could give a lecture to the wall for 1 hour. And then I was there for 1 year. Every day I would either speak to the cornfields outside, or the goats that were grazing, or the cattle that were around, or the water canal that was flowing. I had discovered the inner motivation. So what you need to motivate yourself is to give yourself a strong reason why this is important, and then revise that. Keep that knowledge fresh, so you can always find this fountain source of inspiration within you.
Yeah, you mentioned in the book also there were two patients who were in the hospital.
Yes.
And one was actually literally next to the wall.
Yes.
But he was explaining the other patient what is there outside, a beautiful garden and all. It's all imagination, as you said, what you
That's right.
think inside, and that's how he used to keep the other person happy.
Yes.
When this man passed away, he changes his bed to look at that beautiful garden. He finds a wall there.
Yes.
Yeah, that beautiful example. Yeah.
That's right. So, Lakshminarayan ji, let me ask you, now we are finding the cities in India are getting clogged, and the direction in which we are going, it's going from bad to worse, where all the metropolitans have got the most pollution, the least amount of water and clogging, and the solution is not in just increasing our urban population. So I believe that you are strongly working towards reversing this trend. Could you tell me something about this need and this work?
Yeah, thanks for this, Swamiji, for your observation and also the keenness with which you're asking me about this small thing. As I said, we have a commitment towards the society. And when I was going there, and especially the diseases are increasing, especially the cancer. I mean, even if you go to a small village also, you find people suffering from cancer, renal failure. I used to work in Mumbai also. I used to visit Tata Memorial Hospital. I used to see small children also suffering with all these diseases. I said, can't we do something? Can't we keep our cities clean? Can't we keep our villages clean? So then we took it up as a project from my foundation, which is called Join for Development Foundation. So we selected the temple town of
Oh, so that's the JD.
JD Foundation.
Oh, you know what? Something interesting.
Yeah.
Somebody told me that JD stands for Joint Director because he was Joint Director of CBI.
Yeah. So of late they have named me like that. So my foundation is actually it's Joint for Development.
I see. Okay.
We call it as JD Foundation.
Interesting.
So this temple town of Bhadrachalam we have selected. I always tell people, you keep your home very clean. But when it comes to the road, you don't keep it. When you come to your town, you don't keep it. Because you don't have that belongingness in you. You think that only the house belongs to me. The road doesn't belong to me and the town doesn't belong to me. Let us increase our sphere of belongingness. I told them, let us make the streets first clean. Then let us extend this. So in a 1 year's time, we could convert this city of Bhadrachalam into plastic free.
I see.
The single-use plastic we have involved each and every one in the society that it's a responsibility. And people stop using single-use plastic. They stop throwing this into the gutters, drainages and all. Now, because of this, the disease has gone down.
I see.
People are quite happy. I say, if you keep your health, then you will be happy.
Right.
This we could do in this one town. This now slowly people are started imitating this, and many villages also are adopting this.
I see.
This is one thing we are doing from the our.
Okay, very nice. And what about your interest in getting the youth to go to the villages rather than seeking their profession in the cities?
Yeah, yes, that's one. That is another area which I am working. Because as I mentioned earlier, India lives in villages. So village is a basic unit for us. So people keep seeing youngsters migrating from villages. Why don't we do the reverse brain drain, what we usually call? I said, let us work in the villages. Agriculture is there. You are all in the engineering colleges. Why don't you use your technology to help the farmer? So in few places we are doing some experiment wherein people are leaving their jobs in the software companies and they are coming and settling in the villages. They are forming societies among the farmers.
I see.
And they are doing a collective farming. All these things we have started.
Very nice.
And also they are getting into the entrepreneurship also, wherein they are doing the value addition.
I see.
Yeah, the main problem in agriculture is we don't do the value addition. So we sell the raw fruit. So instead if you can process it, so it add value to it.
I
so
see.
you can convert into a business.
I see.
I always say a farmer also should think like a businessman. Then only his prosperity will increase, and in turn the village will be good, and lot of people will don't migrate, and they in fact they will come back. This is one field we are working.
Very interesting. So that's like we see in the way Amul created the revolution in milk, right?
Suryanji did the same.
Yes.
And I keep interacting with the students only, as I said, because Dr. Kalam said, whenever you get time, go and meet the future of the nation and try to motivate them.
Okay.
So I keep interacting with them. Almost I interacted with about 25 lakh youth so far. That's
My God.
Yeah,
I
keep
see.
going there. So majority of the students, they ask me, sir, what should be the goal in our life? How we should set the goals in our life? That's the usual questions they ask me. So I just request you to address the students in the goal setting, how they should go.
The nature of human life is that people always think there is happiness ahead. So they think, okay, if I get a job, I will be happy. And when they have a job, then say, are you happy now? No, I am not happy now. If I become permanent, I will be happy. Okay, now you are permanent. Are you happy now? No, I am a foreman. If I become a manager, I'll be happy. Okay, now you're a manager. Are you happy? No, if I become a deputy director, I'll be happy. So this is like the mirage that is going on. So our scriptures say that just like the deer in the desert, it thinks there is water ahead. And when it thinks there's water ahead, but when it goes, that mirage keeps on receding. So it's going on and on and on. So rather than blindly accept goals that society is giving, we need to think a little deeply about this. So where is this desire for happiness coming from at all? Our Vedas say that God is the ocean of happiness. And you, the soul, are a little part of that ocean of happiness. And every part is drawn to the source. This is the force of gravitation. If you throw something, it comes down. Hence the apple fell on Newton's head. The apples will always fall, but Newton was the first one who thought, why did it fall down? He discovered the earth is pulling it. So God is pulling us. And that pull is experienced in the form of the desire for happiness. So now, thinking that I am the body, we are running for bodily happiness. And we're going on and on and on and on. Nobody is happy, neither the billionaire nor the film star nor anything. So we have to decide that I am the soul. When we decide that, then we understand that the happiness I seek is in God. And the goal of my life should be God realization. Now that of course does not mean that we run away from the world. Moment people hear spirituality, they say, okay, do I have to become a Baba and go into the world? But the Bhagavad Gita is giving the complete reverse message. The Bhagavad Gita says, to go towards God means you change your inner consciousness. Before hearing the Gita, Arjuna was a warrior. After hearing the Gita, he was still a warrior. So what changed? It was his inner consciousness. In ignorance, we think, I have no relationship with everything else, it's just my self-interest. And in knowledge, we understand I am a part of this whole. And my self-interest is in serving the whole. So then we make our every work an act of worship. Yat karoshi, yad ashnasi, yat juhosi, tadasi, yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurushva madarpanam. Arjun, whatever you do it as an offering to me. And that will bring about the excellence that you had mentioned earlier. When we do a work for the pleasure of God, that work we are motivated to do it to the best of our ability. So in our Indian culture, God was the center. In other words, all the arts, all the crafts, everything developed in a form of devotion, whether it was dances, music. There's an interesting story that I love to relate. Tansen, a great exponent of Indian music, it's said he could sing and cause the rain to fall and sing and cause lamps to light. So he was asked by Akbar, his Badshah, that you sing so well, who is your guru? Can you have a guru? Tansen said he is Swami Haridas, he resides in Vrindavan, Mathura. So Akbar said, all right, call him over to my court. Tansen said he is a sannyasi. For him, a king and a beggar are equal. If you wish to meet him, you have to go there. Akbar consented. So he put on ordinary dress and accompanied Tansen. Now when they reached there, how to request Guruji that you please sing for us. So Tansen started singing on the Tanpura and deliberately making mistakes. So finally Guruji took the Tanpura, said, my child, not like this, let me show you. Now when he started singing, Akbar's ears opened up. He said, woo. And when they returned, he asked Tansen, how is it that you cannot sing as well as your guru sings? So earlier he was saying, who can be your guru? Now he says, you can't sing as well as your guru. So Tansen gave an interesting reply. He said, O king, the answer should have been evident. I am singing to please the king of Delhi, that is yourself. And my guru is singing to please the king of the world, which is God. So that is the motivation, the drive for excellence. So the goal of life is to learn to love God and to unite our mind with God, and then to do everything as an act of loving service to Him.
Now, coming to the mind, controlling the mind.
Yes.
Is the main issue that many people say, because the moment I concentrate, the mind goes somewhere. Once I bring it back again, it goes here. So how to control this mind? How to control this mind?
Okay. Actually, this is a very big question and I could go on answering it for but I will just pick up one point here.
Yes.
There's a technique of meditation, right? And everybody tries dhyan. But when they sit in dhyan, they experience the problem which you have mentioned, that there's physically sitting in dhyan and the mind is wandering. So the technique that I recommend is very simple. All you do is, when you sit in dhyan, now people are taking the name of God, that everybody, Sita Ram, Radhesham, etc. But the mind is not getting attracted to the name.
Right.
Because the mind wants forms, activities, that's its sanskars. Now in bhakti, if you don't give that to the mind says, I'm bored, now let me go elsewhere. So we have to give some activity to the mind. This is what I call Roop Dhyan meditation. And what is that? You sit and bring the image of your Lord in front. Whichever form of God you worship, you bring the image in front. Now the mind has got a basis to rest upon. And now start thinking, He is so enchanting, He is my eternal Father, my eternal Mother, and He is an ocean of bliss, an ocean of knowledge. So the mind will get slowly absorbed. And what is the advantage? God is all pure. So when we meditate on the all pure, the mind will also get purified. And as it is purified, the control will increase more and more and more.
Swamiji, my last question.
Yes.
What prompted you to write this book, The 7 Mindsets for Success, Happiness and Fulfillment? And also this 7 is so important because they say in marriage is also the 7 steps. And also the famous book of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen. And also the other book, the 7, the magical number plus or minus 2 by George Miller. So the significance of 7, is it a coincidence or first is what prompted you to write?
Yes.
And about this 7. And about the book, what prompted you and how?
Yes, Lakshminarayana ji, my primary goal in writing this book was to emphasize the importance of our own mind. So, Shankaracharya had said, Jagat jitam kena, who shall conquer the world? So the answer he provided himself, mano hiyena, one who has conquered his own mind. And the philosopher from China, Chuang Tzu, he said, to one who has conquered the mind, the whole universe surrenders. So our scriptures have again and again said, man eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo. The mind is the cause of bondage, and the mind is the cause of liberation. This philosophy is there. People are not able to connect it with its application to real life. The goal of this book was to show people the relevance of Vedic knowledge in day-to-day living. So everybody wants success, everybody wants happiness, everybody wants fulfillment. So here I have said, look, what do you need to get all this? Only to change the way you think. So the biggest resource is inside you. So I have identified here mindsets, that these are the mindsets that you will need. Now I could have gone on to 9 mindsets or restricted to 5.
Yes.
There's George Miller, he did a research and he said that we have a long-term memory and then a short-term memory. So the short-term memory is of 7 items, whether it's 7 digits of a phone number or 7 vegetables in the purchase list. So if I say 7 mindsets, people will remember. Now moment you go to 8th or 9th, they will start forgetting. So that is why many people have chosen this number 7 whenever they enumerate something. And in this, I've tried to cover in these 7 mindsets the spectrum of life. That it's like the last mindset now is the mindset of growing from problems. The problems will come, you grow from them. So the whole thing together is helping people develop the proper thinking patterns and attitudes.
A small corollary to this.
Yes.
I mean, the confusion is whether I should listen to my heart or whether I should listen to my mind.
Okay.
Because if you see something, you always say, it touched my heart.
Yes.
We never say it touched my mind.
Okay.
Whether you see heart and mind are the same or they are different, and if so, whether I should listen to my heart or whether I should listen to my mind.
Well, actually the way the Vedas analyzes the mind and the intellect. So the intellect is the reasoning ability. The intellect is very important. The intellect decides this is right, this is wrong, this rational aspect is there. And the mind is full of emotions. So some people are very emotional, some people are very intellectual. So some people's head rules, some people's heart rules. In general, a balance is always suggested. If you don't have a heart, then you are totally cold. And if you are only heart, you could easily flow away in the wrong emotions. So we must have, noble emotions, we must have wonderful emotions, but we should also have the head to check that are these emotions correct or are they wrong? So that is why both head and heart is required.
So I can conclude that it's a BMI, body mass index. It is body, mind and intellect.
Oh, so that's a nice one.
Very important for one to do that, yeah. It was a wonderful interaction, Swamiji, and a lot of things which I had doubts, so I could get clarifications and also a lot of light on them. I think definitely this interview is going to help a lot of people who are going to watch, and we are all blessed.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to thank you, Lakshminarayana ji, for this session and for all the wonderful questions that you asked. It was a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you. Namaste.
మరిన్ని ఇంట్రెస్టింగ్ అండ్ ఇన్ఫర్మేటివ్ వీడియోస్తో మళ్ళీ మీ ముందుకు వస్తాను. మరి ఆ వీడియోస్ కొరకు మా ఛానల్ని సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేసి డైలీ అప్డేట్స్ కోసం ప్రక్కనే ఉండే బెల్ సింబల్ని ప్రెస్ చేయండి.